Hello and welcome everyone to the video recap titled Tracking Performance with Google Analytics and AdWords. I'm Sergio. Welcome to this video lecture. I'm going to be showing you some of the best practices and most commonly used reporting methods within Google Analytics and AdWords so that you can really see how well your campaigns are performing using these most popular and free tools. You can see on the screen I have the Google Analytics homepage in front of me. To access this homepage, you simply go to google.com/analytics, as you can see in the URL bar there. And we're going to go ahead and sign in. If you don't have an account, just go ahead and follow the steps to creating one. You will need a Google account, Gmail preferably, to set this up. And I have a few different properties in this account, but basically this is what you will see. If you only have one account, you'll only see one of these folders here, and usually there's a subfolder automatically created for the web property, and then a couple of views if you want to create some filters within your views. For example, I have a lot of internal members at the office and at their home offices working on this account, so we have some internal IP addresses filtered out. And you can, when you click on that view, you can see at a first glance the audience overview, number of sessions, users, page views, average session duration, bounce rate, things like that over the last 30 days as a default, but you can always change that to show more if you just play with the date range bar here, and you even have the option to hit the compare to button to compare to the equal previous date range as a default. When you check that box, it'll compare it to the equal prior date range that you have selected. If you choose the custom, you can obviously compare it to any custom date range you want by simply clicking on the days that you want to compare it to. Maybe you want to compare it all to 1 month of May. There you go, hit apply, and it will show you a comparison here on the graph. Typically I like to do month-to-month reports or year-over-year reports, quarterly reports when I use the comparison feature, not some sort of fragmented, smaller data segment compared to a larger one, because it's kind of hard to read the graph and it doesn't really make much sense. As you can see, the orange bar line ends halfway through the screen here on the linear graph, because we only have May selected as a compare to date range, which is much smaller than the August to October 8th date range. So that's kind of one of the most popularly used functions here, is the date range. And I'm just going to quickly show you, in case you don't have Google Analytics installed, how to create it. Essentially for me, it's I'm going to have to go to the admin bar here, and on the account side, click Create New Account. If you have a brand new account with no websites being tracked in it, you probably won't have to go through that step of clicking admin. It'll probably be one of the first things they ask you to do is create a new account. What do you want to track? Is it a website? Is it a mobile app? It's pretty self-explanatory. You can enter your account name. I'm just going to put my test account, www.testing.com. Industry, you should select the most appropriate industry. I'm just going to put arts and entertainment. Make sure you choose the right time, because you won't be able to change that. The time zone is important. Leave all of these checked so that you can get access to technical support, specials, benchmarking, and product linking, which is particularly important for what we're going to be doing. And then click on Tracking ID. Hit I accept. And then you will get your tracking code. Here it is. This is the tracking code that you'll need to put on every page of your website in order to track your website visitors' performance and their behavior. So you want to definitely copy this. And depending on what kind of website you have, you may have a WordPress. If you do, it's one of the most popular management systems out there. It's very easy to drop this in here. You're going to go to Appearance. Hover over Appearance and then click on Editor. In the Editor section, you want to make sure that the theme you're using is the right theme. If you don't know, you can more often than not find out by going to the Themes section. It'll show you which theme you're using. Or you might need to contact your webmaster. Of course, if you look at the source code of your site, you usually often see what theme's being used, but we won't get into that. This isn't a webmaster course. What you're going to be looking for is the header file, which on the right you can see I'm hovering over it. If you click on the header file, it'll open up your header of your website, and that's where the analytics code needs to go. It needs to go right before the closing head tag. So essentially with almost everything, there's an open tag and a close tag. For example, with paragraphs, there's an open P and then a closing P, which I'll just put it in here. It looks kind of like this. Open P. When you start typing, this is a paragraph. And then you're supposed to put a closing P. So you have an opening tag and a closing tag like you see here. This is just an example, just to stress the importance of knowing how to find your head code, because there is in fact an opening head right here, and then a closing head down here, which has the / before the word head, indicating that it's the closing head tag. So what you want to do with your analytics code is put it right before the closing head tag. So I just hit enter, paste. There's my Google Analytics tracking code. I can hit update file and I'll be done. It's already there. So I'm not going to add this one because this is just an example, but that is how you would do it. So close this out. If you happen to have a Magento site, Magento is one of the most popular e-commerce management systems. It's very easy to add it here as well. You hover over System while you're logged into your backend. Go to Configuration. On the left-hand side, under General, click on Design. Here you will have a HTML header section where you can put miscellaneous scripts, and that is where you will drop your Google Analytics tracking code. There's already a Facebook remarketing code here, so what I would do is just hit enter once, paste it in there. There it is. And then of course hit update at the top, save configuration. And that is how you will add the Google Analytics tracking code if you need to your site. But we don't need to, so I'm not going to. Just wanted to share a few examples of how to get that done. Once your account is set up, then you will be able to test it by going to your real-time reports and checking to see if there's someone on your site when you actually go to it. Let me go into an actual account here so you can see. I'm going to go to the all website data and go to overview, then click on another tab and go to the website. So now we're on the home page, and you can see that it takes a second here to load up. There it is. Someone's on the home page. It even shows you that they're in Florida, where I am, and the traffic source is direct, and the content, I'm on the home page. So it's pretty neat that you can do that. That's just one thing that you can kind of do to monitor your real-time traffic. You will want to link up your AdWords and your analytics account, which we'll have a lesson on in the future, but it's very important to kind of gear up for that. That way your analytics data and your AdWords data can communicate with each other. I talked about how to set up conversion tracking, and with phone call tracking, depending on which way you go, if you're using the call tracking software or not, you may need to set up event tracking for phone calls, which most softwares for call tracking purposes do automatically, and then you'll have to import your goals into AdWords. And it's not very hard to do that. What you'll want to do is have your goal already set up in analytics here. I want all our internal website or our internal IP filters added as my view, and this is where I have my goals set up. So you can see I have phone calls, chat conversations, form submissions, and transactions completed, already established here. Remember, we went over how to set that up. I just need the confirmation page as the destination URL for the goal to trigger. And here you can see the /thanks-contact is the triggering URL for the goal to be completed. Now, if I wanted to import this form submission goal into AdWords, I would go into my account. Since I have many accounts, this is MCC, I'm going to have to drill down. Click on Tools, Conversions. Here, you'll be able to see a way to either set up new conversions or import, but I've already imported all of them. So then I'm going to click on Google Analytics. Here they are. So it looks like they're already all listed, and I can go ahead and import these goals by checking them here. Click Continue, and I'm going to give it a name here. Let's see here, purchase sale lead. value, don't assign a value, okay, and click import. Congratulations. So now I've imported my chat goal, and here it is. So what I'll be able to now see is how many conversions I'm getting from Google Analytics configured goals, because it is a goal that I had to configure in Analytics. It's basically a software that I use to allow my site to have a chat function so I can chat with people here. There is a back and forth communication between the chat agent and the visitor. It triggers a goal in Analytics. So with Analytics, that is used as an event-based goal, which is set up by the software. It's very easy to do. The software actually has a sync with Google Analytics button. You log into Analytics and it's done. Same thing with call tracking softwares that I use. You basically log into Analytics from the call tracking software dashboard, click sync with Google Analytics. It'll ask you to log into your Analytics account, select the right property, and then boom, all of a sudden you have phone call data being imported into your Google Analytics account. So that's something that you want to kind of be aware of, depending on which tracking software you use, whether it's for phone calls or chatting. You want to find out if that software offers a seamless integration into Google Analytics so that you could set up your goals in Analytics and then basically import them into Google Adwords. To set up a goal based off of an event like I just mentioned, you simply would click on the custom button here as a custom goal, choose the event option, and then give it a name. Like I'm just going to put test calls. Now, when you set up your event, the software that you use, for example, for the call tracking software I use, it tells me what the category of the event's going to be called. And if it's not, you can always just look at your event report to find out what the category was, what the action was, what the label. In this case, it happens to be call. So I can just put call here and then hit save and it'll be done. And if I hit verify goal, it'll tell you how many times it's happened in the last, I know it's calls, so I think I have to put begins with. Here it goes. Just wanted to show you, if you put calls here, you can see that the software is already importing events and it's verified at a 2.1 or 2.41% conversion rate. And you would hit save. But I don't need this goal, so I'm going to hit cancel. And in the reporting section, the goals, the events are going to be listed under behavior, under the category events. If I click on overview, I'll be able to see that I have calls, chats, pop-up form fills, and things like that I can kind of look through. And these are the categories. The action labels are explained here as well. And the event labels are also shown as well. So we can kind of see, what the different naming conventions are for the categories, actions, and labels. That way, when you're setting up your goal, you know exactly what to enter there, as we just went over with the event-based goal. So you will need to put a value here. Remember that if you put equals to, it has to be exactly what's used in the category, action, label, or value field. If you put begins with, it may be a little easier to use. So just a word of advice there. And that basically is how to, work with Google Analytics with your goals, your conversions. Call tracking is extremely important, so I highly recommend using conversion tracking, whether it be in AdWords or Analytics. To set up call tracking in AdWords without using a software, basically to just know how many calls you're getting to your pay-per-click ads, you can basically just set up call extensions in your ads, which we'll get into. It's basically a phone number that shows up on your pay-per-click ad, and when someone calls it, you can actually track that as a phone call. Go to the conversions tab where we just were, click add conversion, click phone calls, and then select here calls from ads using extension or call only ads. And then that will basically, once you save this, it'll start registering them in your account. It's very easy. Now, if you wanted to track phone calls to a phone number on your site, you're going to need to add a tracking code on your actual website and use forwarding numbers that are only available in certain countries. You'll be able to use it just fine if you're marketing in the US and most major countries. So you put your name in here of the goal. I'm going to put test calls. I'm going to put no value just to keep it simple. I'm going to hit save and continue. So you're going to have to put this phone call tracking code on your site. And what this will do is replace the phone number on your site temporarily for any visitors that come to your site via a Google pay-per-click ad, and replace the number with Google AdWords' tracking number. So when the person calls, even though they didn't do the call extension or click to call on your ad, they're still calling a number that belongs to Google, which is being tracked. And then that will go into your AdWords account and register as a conversion. So make sure that you get the tracking code or email it to someone so that they can install it in your site. And that will be it. So that's how to set up call conversions for your website or your ads using AdWords. And I went over how to do it if you're using third-party call tracking softwares, which oftentimes have a lot of additional benefits to go through. But that's basically how you would use or set up rather your conversions. And then inside of the AdWords account, you'll be able to see that there is a tab for conversions. Here we can see, let's go back all time. So here are the conversions being registered, our conversion rate. And what's great about this now is that when you drill down into the specific account, to the specific campaign, I could see which ad groups are performing better from a conversion rate standpoint. You can see this one has a 72% conversion rate, which is pretty good. And what's even better now is I can see which keywords are providing me with conversions or higher conversion rates. So here we can, conversions not added. What I'll do is modify columns to include conversions. And I'll add conversions and conversion rate to the table, hit apply. And now I can see, okay, well, hey, out of all of these keywords here, the one that performs, or the ones that perform really well are here at the top if I sort by conversion rate. And you can see the keywords that are performing better, maybe start to ensure that other similar keywords to these are also showing up so that you can capture more opportunities for conversions. We'll get into more optimizing and analyzing your data, but I wanted to just kind of give an introduction as to how advantageous it can be to have the conversion data, how you can apply it, how to set it up, so on and so forth. And in AdWords, or I'm sorry, in Google Analytics, if you go to any of the acquisition reports now and you have your goals set up, you'll be able to see conversion data on your table here. So for example, I have phone calls. If I want to just show phone call conversion data, I click the phone call drop down option here, which is goal number 2. And this is how many phone calls I'm getting in this column here. 18 from Google Organic in the last 30 days, which is a 1.5% conversion rate, whereas direct visitation is 11.29% conversion rate. Looks like Google pay-per-clicks converting at 4.33%. So a lot of great data here to analyze, and I think that you get the point now. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video lecture so it doesn't get too long, and we'll touch base more on things like this and analyzing and optimizing your data in the future, in the future lectures where we already have the Google AdWords account well optimized and structured, and we're collecting data. Until next time, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll talk to you soon.